Welcome into the Q and B Rock today. We are celebrating the graduates of Stryker High School today, and as we have done with all the other area high schools, it has been a very strange year. It has been a difficult year, I know, but I think it has been a real fun year, and especially the way things have worked out here in the end. With me is Dave Schultz, who is the principal of Stryker High School. David, welcome in.
Good afternoon, Jim. How are we doing?
Doing well, doing well. First of all, how did the year go for everybody over at Stryker? I know it was not your normal school year.
No, it was a little challenging. The first 9 weeks went well, and we had a good winter sports-wise and academics. The fourth 9 weeks was a challenge. The students, I thought, overall did a great job. The seniors you're about to talk to, they got lucky and really didn't have to do anything. The fourth 9 weeks, that was kind of nice for them. Online learning and in the brick and mortar building is totally different, and I will tell you, I think 125% of our population wants to be back in the brick and mortar building.
Yeah. How many years now for you teaching and now being the principal?
I just completed my 7th year as principal and my 16th year at Stryker.
And have you ever been through anything that would even come close to matching what you just went through this year?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Have you in your 16 years at Stryker or in all your years of education, have you ever been through anything that's quite as crazy as what this one has been?
No, nothing like this at all. Not to see kids, not to see coworkers, not to see teachers and interact with staff members. Really boring days, really boring times. I miss seeing the kids in the hallways and going to athletic events, and I didn't go into education to talk to computers and those kind of things. So for me, it was really challenging. I'm not what I would say a computer guy, more of a hands-on paper pencil type person, and I love high schools, elementary schools, and I'm just not a fan of online learning. I know we need that, and I know colleges have a lot of it. So we do, have one-to-one devices at Stryker, and we do incorporate a lot of internet and e-learning. But to do that all day, every day, for a 9-week period is not what I would consider trying to educate kids. So it was difficult.
Is there anything that you're going to take out of this process, the changes that we've made, that you'll maybe incorporate down the line, or, oh, let's get rid of this online stuff and get back to normal?
Well, I'm hoping let's get rid of the online stuff and get back to normal. If we have to do online learning, again, I think we need a lot more communication between me and the public, the teachers, and the students. We did an experimental type e-learning situation. I think it worked out okay, but I think the interaction between the teachers and the students was missing, and I mean on a daily basis. So we would have a lot more of that coming if we do that. So it would be like you're at school, whether you're at home or whether you're in the building. It would be like you would see Mrs. Baldwin, you'd see Mrs. Yoder, you would see them every day.
Mrs. Baldwin, let's bring you into the conversation right now. Melanie, you're a math teacher. How difficult was it teaching math via Skype or Zoom or whatever else you were using?
It was definitely different. Confirmation again that just that face-to-face interaction with your students is, I mean, you can't replace it with computer videos. I mean, I incorporated some videos like through Khan Academy and different things that were already made, but there were times that I just kind of made my own videos first, posted them so then the kids could watch it whenever they wanted to, because what we noticed as teachers is that a lot of kids were doing their homework like at midnight or 2 in the morning. They weren't coming in on, you know, my 1 o'clock in the afternoon Zoom meeting sometimes because they were still sleeping in. So I don't know. We made it. The kids were great. I feel for the most part, they would email if they had questions, and sometimes a small group, they would want to just Zoom, and I could talk them through a problem if they had questions after watching the video. So it's definitely different, but we got through it.
Math is hard enough, okay, for most people. And then not to have a teacher on hand where you can say, Mrs. Baldwin, what's 2 + 2?
They probably Googled that one. No. Yeah, it definitely, I spent a lot of time like trying to look and say, okay, for this last quarter, it definitely couldn't go in as in depth as I would have probably face to face, but tried to look for some major concepts that I know they needed to go on to next year. And, you know, I don't know, I feel overall it was okay, but it was definitely not the same as being face to face with them every day on the academic part or the regular part.
I'll bet not. I bet it was very difficult. Anything that you would take next year into the school year if you needed to for distance learning?
I mean, I guess it made me this whole experience a little bit more open-minded with more online resources. I mean, we always have them, but I guess I spent a lot of time looking at different websites of, I don't know, just different ways to try to teach them on that online basis, which I think I can still incorporate in my classroom if they're, you know, if we're there every day. Just other options that some of the kids, I think, enjoyed.
Well, let's find out. Below you, if they're watching right now on our social media, is Courtney Stewart and Mackenzie Cadwell. And Mackenzie Cadwell is the one not in the tie-dye shirt. How's that? So Courtney Stewart in the tie-dye. Courtney, you're the vice president of the class. You're the number 2 person. And generally they tell me that, you know, the president is there, but it's that vice president that makes the wheel go round. Is that right?
I guess so.
You're in different rooms. We've got the president down here in the bottom corner there. So, but she can't get to you, so you can tell the truth to me today. That's the neat thing about social distancing like this. The truth can come out, and Stryker is such a big town, you may never ever see her again.
Yeah. I just feel like as like a whole class, we kind of all work together to like help each other and help other classes, especially with like, since COVID happened, like we all just kind of came together as a class and with other classes to try to get like as much schoolwork or to like socialize or whatever with anyone.
Mackenzie, you're the treasurer of the class this year, okay? Does that mean you graduate with a whole lot of money along with the diploma?
Yes. No, I'm kidding.
How was it from your perspective, having to do things the way that we had to do it here in 2020?
I think it was a little difficult, but I think we all, like I agree with Courtney, we all just came together, and I think we definitely all remained really positive throughout the whole thing. We had really awesome teachers and staff to help us throughout, and we had each other, of course, and I think it wasn't the best situation, but I think we got through it pretty well.
That's important, though. That is good. Do you feel like you missed something? What the two of you, what did you miss this year? What would you like to have changed? And let's start with Mackenzie first, and then we'll go back to Courtney.
I think just getting that closure, you know, having your last couple weeks, getting to spend that with your class and your teachers, just kind of getting to relax, you know, and I guess we didn't really get that closure. We didn't really know that those last days were our last days. So I think that's what I miss the most, for sure.
And Courtney, how about you?
I would have to agree with Mackenzie. I was actually going to say that, like seeing everyone, seeing like our teachers, like saying that like final goodbye, not sitting in a car or whatever at graduation, like actually like face to face in a classroom. And like being able to see like everyone in the hallways, and it's like just like have that like last final day, but not be so sad, be like excited, and just so we can see everyone.
Yeah. Now, next to you is Callista Blevins, if they're watching on social media right now. And Callista was the class president. So you were the boss, man. Describe to me your class. Are you a pretty tight bunch? And did this bring you closer or move you farther apart?
I think our class in general, we're pretty close, and we like having fun together, and we can all make each other laugh. And I think it was hard for us at first, you know, with everything going on, but I think we were there for each other, and we kind of just tried to make the best out of the situation.
How many students in the graduating class?
I believe 28.
Okay, all right. And that's, you know, with 28 students, normally you can get pretty close unless you just don't like one another. When I graduated from high school, nobody liked one another. I've not seen anybody for almost 50 years that I graduated with, and they don't want to see me. How's that?
I think we're pretty close, and I think we'll stay connected in these coming years.
You can only hope so, because I'll tell you what, my brother is very close with his graduating class. And they've been close for a long, long time and see one another on a regular basis. So my class, everybody hit the road and they disappeared. And where they are now, who knows? Okay. I hope most of them are out of prison now. You know, some of them probably aren't, but you never can tell. Anna is our valedictorian, Anna Harris. I guess the first thing that they said to you, and I'm going to say it too, cute hairdo.
Oh, thank you. It's a quarantine haircut. I did it myself.
Did you really?
I sure did.
So when you graduated, was it very long? Was it like Mrs. Baldwin's hair, or what did it look like?
It was pretty long. It went down to like midway down my back, I guess. So I cut it pretty short.
Well, I'm needing a haircut too, so I've got to go find one, and I also need to shave. My wife's not real happy about the whole look that I got going right now, but you know, we've been locked in, so I just decided, what the heck, let's just let it all go, you know?
Yep.
It's the way that it goes. So tell me a little bit about your speech that you gave at graduation. What was your message to the graduating class and all the folks that were with you?
My message was that, I mean, like, quarantine hit us pretty hard. You know, it took the rest of our senior year away from us. So that was sad, but we stayed positive. So my message was, even in the coming years, in the future, if things get hard, we should try our best to stay positive and find the good in the situation.
Yeah, that's always a plus. And it's really hard because it just seems like, you know, we no more got out of the COVID situation, and now we have all the riots and everything else that's going on. This has been a very difficult year.
Mm-hmm.
Really has. Mrs. Baldwin, tell me a little bit about this class. How long have you been around these young ladies?
Well, I guess since their 8th grade year. So I've been teaching I just finished my 16th year. Dave and I started the same year. But yeah, so I had them as 8th graders, or 7th graders, I should be specific. Some of them, sometimes they switch back and forth. But I had them for some different math classes. And I mean, this group right here, they're definitely good math students, even though they may say they're not good at it, but they are.
Wow. Give me an overall look at this entire class. Describe the senior class to the folks that are listening and watching right now.
Oh man, that's a hard one. I think they're also unique. I mean, they have their own gifts and talents. You know, as teachers, we're always talking about that. Like, they're also, I feel like they all have their own little knacks, and they're all going to be fine. You know, you've got your ones that are going to go to college. You've got the other ones who roll their eyes at college, but those ones have the hands-on skills. And if I've got a broken something on my door, they can go and fix it for me real quick. And I've got the ones who are so academic and organized. They can get all their work done and have their own goals. Teachers don't even have to push them to make their own goals because they make them for themselves. you've got the artistic ones. I mean, I don't know. They're a really good group. I mean, I think we always have good groups at Stryker, and I think that's one of the awesome things about being in a small school, because, you know, I've had these kids for like 3 or 4 different years throughout junior high and high school, and they're like your family, and you just wish the best for them, and you miss them. And I mean, some of these students probably know more about me than my family does, because I see them every day and they tend to talk a little bit.
That's fun, though. It's good to have teachers like you. We're in the middle of celebrating the graduates from Stryker High School. We need to pay some bills, guys, so we need to step away for a commercial break right now. We have Anna Harris, Callista Blevins, Courtney Stewart, Mackenzie Cadwell, Mel Baldwin, and Dave Schultz with me right now. And when we come back, we're going to learn all the dirt about the class of 2020 here on the Q and B Rock. Back here from our break as we celebrate the seniors at Stryker High School. And now's when the fun questions come out, ladies, because Mr. Schultz and Mrs. Baldwin have all given me these very, very specific questions about you. And so now this is kind of like the lightning round. We're going to go around and find out all the dirt about you right now. I'm just kidding. How's that? Let's start with Anna. Anna, you were one of the last ones that we talked with the first. Look back on your time at Stryker. What are you going to take with you as you leave?
I'm not sure. There's a lot of things to take away. I think one thing is to hold on to my individuality and what sets me apart from others. Because in Stryker, I mean, the classes are so small that you get a lot of one-on-one time with the teachers, and they encourage you to do what you want to do what makes you happy. And it feels good. It feels nice to get that kind of recognition. And
I bet so. What are you going to do? Where do you go from here? What's next year bring?
This fall I'm planning on heading to the Cleveland Institute of Art for illustration. So. Oh,
very cool. My wife is a painter, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do. When you say illustration, what would you like to illustrate?
Anything, everything and anything. I like to illustrate stories, so writing my own stories and then illustrating them, or other people's stories. It's just fun to tell stories with my art.
So my wife paints normally landscapes and flowers, but at one time she had an opportunity to help illustrate a children's book, and that was really a neat process. But boy, what a lot of effort that is. There's a lot of work that goes into something like that.
It is. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end, I think.
No, it really is, and it was a neat little book, and I'm sure there have been thousands of youngsters that have had a lot of fun with the book that she illustrated at that point in time. Callista, where are you heading next this fall?
Real quick, Mr. Schultz wants to know if he can get back in the meeting.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be heading to Trine, and then I'm going to be double majoring in psychology and criminal justice.
Ah, okay, very good. Trine is a wonderful school. Why Trine? Why did you pick a school over in Angola?
I think it's because I'm used to like the small school feeling, like at Stryker, and I definitely like the one-on-one and how much one-on-one attention we get at Stryker. So I wanted a smaller school so I could feel comfortable and in the same atmosphere.
That's a really nice school and a wonderful campus. I actually do football and basketball for Albion College, which is in that same conference. And they're kind of heated rivals, so I'm very, very familiar with Trine. It's a wonderful facility. You'll get a great education over there.
Yep.
Mackenzie and Courtney, tell me what's on the docket for you guys this fall?
Okay, I'll go. I'm going to be heading to Northwest State, and I'm going to major in medical assisting for a 2-year program.
Fantastic. And Courtney, or Mackenzie, what are you up to?
I haven't fully decided, but I'm kind of deciding between playing volleyball at Bluffton or just going to Northwest, and I'm going to major in nursing wherever I go.
Wow. Bluffton's a neat school, too, and they have volleyball teams. It's a good volleyball program down there.
Yep, I love their coach, and I like the team feel over there.
Yeah, it's a great campus. It really is a wonderful place if you decide to go down there and play. And I'll tell you what, women's collegiate volleyball on the D3 level, it's a pretty tough game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
For sure.
We do some volleyball too, and it's scary. I've always said women's volleyball and women's basketball are two of the most physical sports you're ever going to be around.
Yes, for sure.
They're not afraid to kind of mix it up, and we do college football, so I'll put it right on that same level. Dave Schultz, Dan, I think you're back in the meeting again with us on the bottom corner. Tell me a little bit about this class and your thoughts as the principal with these young ladies and the rest of their classmates.
Well, there were 27 graduates. I thought we had a fantastic graduation day. We avoided the rain, and the kids got to actually walk up on a stage and get their diploma. It wasn't quite the stage they wanted to walk up on, but it was outside, and they got to see each other. Anna gave a great speech that day, and so that was a good day. This senior class has excelled, both academically and athletically. I wish we would have had spring sports. I know we had a couple of girls. I believe Mackenzie was going to do dual sports with softball and track and high jump. Manny, unfortunately, didn't get to compete in track. He went to state and cross country. So that was kind of disappointing, I'm sure, for him. But overall, the parents were super during the online learning situation. They were very cooperative. Graduation was a big item for me for the last month, arranging that and working with our superintendent, Mr. Johnson, and he deserves all the credit. He's the one that basically set everything up, and most of the ideas were his. We intended to use the football field. That got squelched by the governor, and I understand why he did it. So we kind of improvised. It worked out really well. And I wish our seniors nothing but the best. They didn't get a prom, so that was disappointing. I'm sure we've invited them back next year. I hope they come, but it's just not the same. And usually the last 6 weeks of school is a fun time for seniors, and I'm sure they missed being kings and queens of the hallway, and I missed seeing them senior hallways right outside my office, and so that part was disappointing. But overall, I thought we had a successful year, and I think the senior class will obviously be remembered for COVID, but I think they made their footprints at Stryker, and they'll always be remembered, and I have fond memories of them.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I think there were some wonderful folks who have graduated this year from all around Northwest Ohio. And I'm sure they're ready to go and do some wonderful things too over the course of their lifetimes. Yeah. Should be fun. All right, let's one last question, ladies, and we'll let everybody go. How's that? So we're going to go around the squares. This is like playing. Did you ever see these folks probably too young to see the Hollywood Squares game? Okay. All right, but I feel I'm an old guy, so if Google Hollywood Squares, okay, and you'll understand what I'm telling you in a minute, okay? But this reminds me a lot of it, taking me back a number of years, where you got all the celebrities up on the board there, and you get to go to each one of them and win money. Since we got a vice president up there that's got a lot of money, we'll start up in that block in the top right corner. How's that? Courtney and Mackenzie, whoever wants to take this one on. What will you remember the most about this year? Okay, and maybe what is your least favorite thing about having to go through this whole COVID period?
I'll go first. Okay. I think the biggest thing that I'll remember this year was just kind of being disappointed. I'm not trying to be super negative about it, but just how disappointed we were, but how positive we were and how we overcame it, and you know what I mean. And then I think probably the thing I disliked the most about it, was just having to miss out on your senior prom and all your sports and your last 2 weeks for sure.
Very good. And Courtney, same question.
I think like the most like positive thing like that happened throughout the year was that like although like this did happen, like the situation wasn't like what we expected at all, we definitely kept like a positive attitude throughout the end, and that we just kept trucking through senior year and then just having a positive mindset. But the least thing about it was, I guess, the fact that it did happen and that it had to happen to us, even though like everyone says it's like our senior year or whatever, it still happened, and that was probably most disappointing. But like Mr. Schultz said, that we are the class that can say that we went through like a pandemic and that we've gone through it, and we're challenged, but we overcame it.
Yeah, no doubt. Calista, the same question to you. What are you going to take out of here that you remember that was the fondest memory of this year, and what was the thing that was the most disappointing?
My favorite part about this year is just all the memories I made with my classmates. I feel like we got even closer this year, although we're sort of leaving each other. But my least favorite memory is having to miss prom and sports, and the week that was supposed to be spring break that eventually turned into the rest of the year. The next week we had an awesome senior trip planned, and we had to miss that. So that was probably my least favorite part.
Wow, where was the trip going to be?
We were going to go take a day trip to Chicago, but
yeah,
it was going to be fun.
Yeah, Chicago will still be open next year, and you'll have to get over it and enjoy it one of these days because it's a wonderful city. There's no doubt.
Yep.
Anna, you're the valedictorian, so for the students, give me that favorite thing that the valedictorian had out of this year, and the one regret maybe that you might have.
My favorite thing this year was probably just being in class with everyone, especially in classes like our financial algebra class where it had almost everyone in it. It was a little crazy, but I mean, it was fun. It always made me smile to be in there because, I mean, we got to see each other and have fun. The thing I regret most is probably the fact that we didn't get the rest of our senior year like everyone else. I mean, it's sad, but we have to move on, and it's okay.
Yeah, well, it is, and it is just, you'll find as life goes on, you'll have bumps, and you have really good years and really bad years, and a lot of years that just kind of go by. But this is one that you're going to tell your kids and your grandkids about, because it's something that Mrs. Baldwin and Mr. Schultz and myself didn't live through. We have our own experiences maybe like this one, but this will be something that when you get to be an older person like myself, you'll have your grandchild on your knee, and you'll say, you know what, back in 2020, we didn't get to finish our year because of the COVID, okay? And you'll laugh and you'll chuckle, and it'll be something in the rearview mirror, and it'll be something that you'll be able to tell people for a long, long time. Mrs. Baldwin, same question to you. What was your favorite thing of the year, and what do you, any regrets that you may have had from this year?
Oh, man, favorite thing? There's a lot of good things. I don't know. I don't want to just piggyback on what the girls have already said, but I just think like this whole experience, and of course at the end of the year, that's when you think of what has just happened, but just everybody's kind of test to adapt to situations. I think it's been a learning experience for us all. And I guess I don't know if I'm going to say that's my favorite thing. I don't know. That's just maybe kind of a neat thing, even though it's just, you get kind of anxious about. I know on the teacher side of things, it was, I was losing sleep, like, how am I going to teach these kids math? And then it's, I don't know, the big circle of things, they learn some things, but you kind of learn that you take some things for granted sometimes. I mean, I kind of wish I could go to school on a Monday morning, and I didn't really want to sleep in, and I usually did, but you just kind of relearn things. But again, I kind of already said, like, the relationships that as a teacher you make with these kids, it's always special every year. And then can kind of see the full circle when you first have them at the junior high level, and then see what they become and grow throughout their experiences through school. It's just, I don't know, it always kind of gets me, but I don't know, every year is kind of a favorite year, but so right now, I mean, it's been a lot of good, and a lot of good kids, and a lot of good workers and staff to work with, and administration, just everybody working together for the good.
David, the last word goes to you. This has been a crazy year, but boy, it does sure seem like you have some wonderful people in that entire school system over at Strykers, from not only your students all the way up through the administration.
Yes, we do. It's a great school district to work at. You know, my actual favorite moment this year was graduation day, and actually Friday before we had we always have a practice, and then we usually have a final walk through the hallways for the seniors. This year we had a drive through town for them instead of a walk through. The practice went very well. I thought the kids had a good time, and graduation couldn't have gone any better. I had a great day that Sunday. So that was probably the high point of my year. The low point, prom. Every year, man, I tell you, I got to go to prom. I don't have to go to prom, but I go to prom. And I have this lady that we kind of date on prom night. and we didn't have prom this year, so that was really disappointing, wasn't it, Mel?
Well,
Mel and I always go to prom together.
I love prom.
I'm hoping that Val is living with you there at that same house. Otherwise, your wife now knows that you've got a girlfriend named Val. How's that?
Oh yeah, that's all right. I play cards with Mel's husband, so he's fine.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Thank you all for putting up with me here this afternoon. Congratulations to all of you. I know it's been a tough year, but things will get better. And as time goes on, you'll look back at this, and it will be one of those unique points in your life. I guarantee it. So congratulations for all your honors. Good luck in the future. And thanks for being with us here today. That'll wrap everything up, Courtney, for us today. Back into classic rock and roll on B-Rock and the Q 96.5 FM.